Alright, how's everybody doing today? Back again with another video for you guys and gals. And today, what I have for everyone is my versus / comparison video of the LG V30 versus the Google Pixel XL first generation. So what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to compare and contrast the similarities and the differences between these two devices. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give my overall recommendation as to which device I believe you should pick up. Alright, so without further ado, let's jump into this video. Now the first thing I want to talk about between these two devices is the overall build quality and design between the both of them, and we're living kind of dangerously today. I did take both devices out of the case, so we're praying for the best because you know your boy is super clumsy. But here we go. Talking about the build quality and design between both of these devices, I feel like both the manufacturers did a great job. Now in regards to the Pixel XL first generation, this device was made by HTC to Google specifications, and overall I feel they did a great job with the overall build. All the buttons are very tactile and clicky, and the device has a nice weight to it in the hand. It's a very substantial weight, and the overall design is top notch as well. The metal and glass design that they went to it is very cool to the touch, and everything is exactly where you would expect it to be. So HTC overall, I feel they did a great job here. Alright. Now, talking about the build quality and design of the V30, this bad boy here was made by LG, and again, I feel they did a great job. Overall, when we talk about the build quality, this one has a nice balanced weight, also feels very solid in the hands, almost the perfect balanced weight to it. All the buttons are very clicky and responsive as well. Really good overall build quality and really good design. So yet another area where LG as well as HTC did a great job. So in this category, I'm going to have to give both these devices a tie. Overall, really solid build quality and design for both of these devices. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about now with you guys and gals is the displays on these bad boys. Alright, and this was very surprising because the displays on both of these are very close. Very close. The only difference being the aspect ratios. But other than that, it's pretty much very similar displays. Now display wise, on the Pixel XL, we have a 2K display with a resolution of 2560 by 1440p in the 16:9 aspect ratio, which gives it a screen density of 534 pixels per inch, whereas on the LG device we have a 6-inch POLED display with a resolution of 2880 by 1440p, which gives this bad boy a screen density of 537 pixels per inch. So LCD technology, POLED technology. Overall, really good displays. 16:9, 18:9, or 2:1 display here. Okay, 5.5 inches, 6 inches. Overall though, after we put all those technical specs out of the way and talk about these displays in regards to the daily usage, both of these manufacturers made some really great displays, and in terms of daily usage, I haven't had any issues with either of these devices. Outdoors, I generally tend to keep these devices at about 80%, as you can see here. Now I just came inside and decided to shoot this video. That's why they're at 80% brightness. Now indoors, I typically keep these bad boys at about 40% brightness, and they work phenomenally, and I've had no issues. So yet again, this is another category where I'm going to give it a tie in my opinion. Now personally, this one comes down to personal preference. Maybe you like the smaller, more compact display of the Pixel XL, and you like the traditional 16:9 aspect ratio, or maybe you want the biggest display possible and you're cool with the newer 18:9 aspect ratio, then you'll be looking at the LG V30. This is really personal preference and which technology you think is going to be better for you, okay? LCD or POLED. Alright, but at least in my opinion, we're giving this one a tie yet again. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper into the hardware and software on both of these devices. Alright, let's do this. Now, hardware-wise, there is a few similarities, but there are a lot of major differences here. So, in regards to the Pixel XL, this bad boy is packing 4 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of onboard storage. This is the variant that I'll see here today in this video. But there is another variant which has 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of onboard storage. Now that stacks up opposed to the 4 gigs of RAM on the LG V30 and the 64 gigs of onboard storage. Alright. Also, the LG V30 comes in another variant, which is the LG V30 Plus variant, which doubles the storage to 128 gigs. Everything else stays the same as what I'm about to mention. So, I just want y'all to imagine that these are both the maxed out version of said devices, and here we go. So 4 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of onboard storage, 4 gigs of RAM, and 128 gigs of onboard storage. The LG V30 has a micro SD card slot, which means you can use expandable storage on this bad boy, whereas the Pixel XL does not. Okay? Both devices support the USB Type-C, and they both have bottom firing speakers, or a single speaker for that matter. This is a speaker, and that is a microphone. Okay, same thing for the LG V30. Again, USB Type-C, bottom firing speaker, microphone. Okay, both the devices have rear mounted fingerprint sensors. As you can see, if I line them up side by side, it's almost in the exact same location. They're both capacitive and very fast fingerprint sensors. Always active fingerprint sensors here, and they work phenomenally. So all I have to do is tap. Okay, let me do it just like that. My finger's kind of sweaty here, I apologize. And you can see it wakes right up. Okay, so let me do it again. Tap, and it wakes right up. And same thing for the LG V30 here. But there's a difference here because the fingerprint sensor is embedded into the power button. So this fingerprint sensor also doubles as your power button, but still same performance. So all I have to do is tap. As y'all can see, wakes right up. Turn the display off, goes right off. Tap again, wakes right up. Good stuff. So really responsive fingerprint sensors on either of these devices. Now, talking about some more hardware between the two devices. On the rear of the devices, you're going to see another major difference here. Okay, they both have rear mounted cameras, but we have a 12.3 megapixel on the Pixel XL with your LED flash and your microphones, whereas we have the dual camera setup with the LG V30. So one primary sensor, which is 16 megapixels, and one ultra wide sensor, which is 13 megapixels. Both these cameras can record in 4K up to 30 frames per second, do 1080p, 30 and 60, and 720p, 120 frames per second, and 240 frames per second slow motion. Really good stuff. Both these devices do have headphone jacks. So as y'all can see right there, it's on the top left with the Google Pixel XL. And if I spin it around for the LG V30, then it's on the top right. But it's really nice to see that they both have headphone jacks. So really good stuff there. Okay, next, let's dive into some more hardware between the two. In terms of the onboard chipsets for these bad boys, the Pixel XL is running the older flagship chipset in the Qualcomm Snapdragon 821 Octa quad-core processor, my bad, I was about to say octa-core, quad-core processor, and the Adreno 530 GPU. Whereas the V30 is packing the slightly newer Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 octa-core processor and the Adreno 540 GPU. Okay, the Pixel XL has a built-in 3450 milliamp hour battery as opposed to the 3300 milliamp hour battery on the LG V30. The LG V30 and the Google Pixel both support quick charging. The Google Pixel supports 18-watt quick charging, whereas the LG V30 supports Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0. The LG V30 does have waterproofing in the IP68 water and dust proofing resistance rating. It also supports the 24-bit quad DAC for really good audio support for headphones, high impedance headphones, and microphones. The Google Pixel XL, where it does have a headphone jack, there is no specified DAC rating. So it's just a regular headphone jack. So there is that. Okay? The LG V30 also supports wireless charging and fast wireless charging, and does have a military spec 810G drop resistance rating. But let's be serious, these are glass devices, and all it does take is one really good drop and then she's out of business. So case up, screen protector up, do what you have to do. If you're gonna rock these without cases or screen protectors, do so at your own risk. That being said, the Google Pixel XL does not have any water resistance rating. Now it does have a splash resistant nano coating on the display, but other than that, there is no water resistance rating. Okay? Alright, flipping the devices around. Up front, dead center here, again, we have a 5.5-inch IPS LCD display to the 6-inch POLED display. Okay, across the top, we have an 8-megapixel sensor on the Google Pixel XL, which taps out at a max video recording resolution of 1080p at 30 frames per second. Now, over here on the V30, we have a 5-megapixel sensor, which taps out at the same maximum recording resolution, so 1080p 30, okay? And I believe that about does it for the hardware aspects of both of these devices, okay? Now, moving on, let's dive a little bit more into the software on both of these, okay? And this is, again, where you're gonna see your next major difference. Now, in regards to the Pixel XL, this bad boy is running stock Android 9.0, exactly the way Google intended it to be. Okay, so there's not too many features on there. It's a very streamed down and very fast experience. Okay, and in particular, it's running Android 9.0 Pie with the latest security patch on board. So if I just tap here, then we go to advanced, then we go to system updates, you can see Android 9.0 Pie with the May 5th, 2019 security patch. So this is the most up-to-date security patch on any device. Whereas if you go to the LG device here, this bad boy is running Android 8.0 Oreo, and it's doing it with a little bit less security patch on it. Let me see if I can find it, because my bad, y'all, bumpy cam. LG software is a little bit convoluted, so let me see if I can find it for y'all real quick. So let's go to system, let's see here, let's go to about phone, and then let's see here, let's go to software. There it is. So you can see it right there. It's running Android 8.0 Oreo with the March 1st, 2019 security patch. Now, if this is unclear, I'll throw up the screenshot in post. So you got a lot older software running on your V30 than you do on your Google Pixel. But in regards to the software for the V30, you get a bunch more features over here than you do on the Google Pixel. But because I'm trying to do this video as fast as possible, I would say if you want a more in-depth look As to the features that both of these devices can perform, please check out the full reviews that I have done on both, which I'll have linked up down below in the video description. But talking about the software in terms of daily performance, I have to say both of these devices do a great job, okay? They're both very fluid and snappy, but if I had to give the slight edge to one, I would have to give it to the Google Pixel. Overall, I feel like the Google Pixel software is very fluid, snappy, and easy to use, and the overall user interface is very intuitive. Now, I am running a custom launcher on this bad boy. I'm running Nova Launcher, but that's just because I like the ability to add the quick pull down from anywhere, all right, as well as adding the quick pull up from anywhere to get into my app drawer. So really good stuff. And I also like the ability that Nova Launcher has where you can double tap the screen to turn off the display, which is similar to what you can do on the LG V30. So it does have double tap to wake and sleep. And we do have ambient display over here and always on display over here. And they both have face unlocks as well. Okay, so you can see if we double tap to wake this up, it scans for my face. All right, now I'm kind of behind the camera, so it doesn't really go off. And you can see I can do it over here as well. It scans for my face. And again, I'm behind the camera, so it's going to say, please try again. But they both have 2D face unlock, and they both perform really, really well. But I'm going to have to give the slight advantage in the software to the Google Pixel XL. All right, just so y'all can see the face unlock at its desk right there. And that reason being, the overall user interface to me, again, is very fluid and responsive and very user-friendly, whereas I really do feel that LG needs a complete redesign for their user interface. Okay? Alright, so in terms of the hardware, you can basically call it a tie. In terms of the software, I'm giving the Google Pixel XL the W. Okay? Alright. Now, let's move on. The next thing I want to talk about now with you guys and gals is the overall Wi-Fi on board with both of these devices. And we're going to do a quick Wi-Fi performance test, which will also double as a speaker test as well. Now, Wi-Fi wise, both of these devices support Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN and AC or dual band Wi-Fi, which means you have support for your 2.4 gigahertz band and your 5 gigahertz band respectively on either of these devices. Okay, and I have to say, in terms of the overall Wi-Fi performance, both of these devices have done a great job, and I would call it a tie in my experience. Okay, but now let's load up a quick video here and give y'all a nice audio sample and a little Wi-Fi demonstration so y'all can see the performance for yourself. Alright, now I've loaded up some copyright-free music already, and we're going to go ahead and get this started. I've already angled up the microphone to the best position, and let's go ahead and start with the LG V30. Let me angle this down some more so it's all in the frame. Alright, just like that. And here we go. Spin this around, and let's push play. Let me check that out real quick. I'll be right back. Wow, sorry about that, y'all. Something fell behind the camera and it scared the hell about me. So let's get back to the test. I do apologize. Here we go. scrub through the video now. Okay. Alright, so that's the LG V30. Now let's do the same test with the Google Pixel XL. Bring this one forward, spin it around, and let's push play. Same distance from the microphone here, gotta make this fair, and here we go. Scrub through the video now. Okay, so there you guys and gals have it. Real quick speaker test, real quick Wi-Fi performance test on the Google Pixel XL. Alright, let's bring these back side by side here. Now, as I said, as you can see through the video, the overall Wi-Fi performance is basically the same. How do I feel about these speakers, however? Let's talk about this. Now, overall, I have to say the speaker performance is pretty much a tie between both. They both get very loud and stay very crisp and clear with minimal distortion at the top end. That being said, I don't like the fact that both of these speakers are very quiet until you get them closer to max volume. Also, the one thing that I don't like about either of these speakers is the speaker placement. As I've demonstrated, either of these speakers is extremely easy to muffle, so you will have to engage in some hand cupping gymnastics to angle that sound towards you, or invest in a good quality pair of wired headphones or Bluetooth headphones. Y'all know your boy will always recommend the Bluetooth, hashtag wireless lifestyle for the win. But that being said, I'm not a big fan of the bottom firing speakers on either of these devices. Just don't like that placement. Y'all already know we front firing speakers for the win here. Matter of fact, let me give y'all a quick demonstration of how it's supposed to sound when you have good speakers. So again, got some copyright free music here. Let's let this load up. Matter of fact, it probably needs to get refreshed. That's probably what it's trying to do. So let's refresh this real quick. Oh, the Wi-Fi wasn't turned on there. My bad. Y'all already know. Let me give y'all this quick sample of how the speakers are supposed to sound here. So let's let this load up now. Alright, and now it's ready to go. Now, I apologize because this is indeed impromptu, but this is what I mean by quality front-facing speakers. So let's push play on this copyright-free music here. Now that's what I'm talking about, and that's not even at max volume. And as you can see, even with the speakers fully covered, it still produces some really good sound. So this is why I'm a big advocate for front-facing speakers. That's the way to go, and I believe that front-facing speakers should be on all devices. Anyway, I apologize. Went off on a little tangent there. Just had to let y'all know what good speakers sound like, especially when they're in the right place. Anyways, let's get back to it. So overall, both of these speakers did a great job, even though I'm not a fan of the placement. They are lacking, however, in the bass department, but it is what it is. That's kind of what you get when you get speakers like this and you place them where they are. Alright? Alright. So, that does it for the Wi-Fi performance test, and that does it for the speaker test and demonstration as well. Now, let's keep it moving. Up next now, the next thing I want to talk about with you guys and gals is the overall LTE and band supported on both of these. And for all intents and purposes, I'm going to call this category a tie because both of these devices are available in globally unlocked variants, which means that you can use them in any carrier in the United States. That being said, just for complete transparency, this is the T-Mobile model. So this is the H932, and this is the European model, which only works on CDMA and WCDMA networks. That being said, I can't remember the particular model of this device right here, but for reference purposes, and I always recommend globally unlocked devices, that's why I'm calling this category a tie. So as you can see right here, when you load up the globally unlocked variants, they pretty much have the exact same LTE band loadout. So let's give you a close-up right there. So all the way through band 41. So the only thing you're missing with these globally unlocked variants is band 66 and band 71. Okay, so that's the Pixel XL, and then here's the V30 right here. Pretty much the same thing. Okay, bam. So in regards to the LTE and band supported on both of these, we're gonna have to call this category a tie. All right. Next thing I want to talk about now with you guys and gals is the overall Bluetooth performance on both of these. Now, aside from how they look, again, because this is a stock Android device versus a customized Android device, they look very different, but they basically perform the same. But aside from how they look, the Bluetooth technology in these devices is a little different as well. Sorry about that notification. I'm going to have to gray that part out now. Don't like to put people's business on blast there. Close that out. But yeah, in terms of the overall Bluetooth here, we have Bluetooth 4.2 on the Pixel XL, and we have Bluetooth 5.0 on the LG V30. All right. Other than that, these two devices perform exactly the same when we talk about the overall Bluetooth performance. Okay, so yet again, in this category, I'm going to have to call it a tie. Now let's keep it moving again. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about with you guys and gals, and this is one of those areas to me that really need to be good on smart devices, because I really rely on this area, this next area we're getting ready to talk about, a lot on the daily. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the overall GPS performance, okay? And I'm very happy to report, yet again, both these devices perform extremely well in that category, and we're going to have to call this a tie once again. Regardless of whichever device I was using, the GPS on both of these performs extremely well for anything that takes advantage of the GPS module on board. So turn-by-turn navigation, geocaching, geotagging, you name it, it's just going to work. And that's really what I like to see in these devices, because your boy rely on GPS heavily. Okay? So tie in that category there. Now, let's keep it moving. We're trying to speed this up a little bit. The next thing I want to talk about with you guys and gals is the overall call quality and speaker call quality between these two devices. And yet again, we're going to have to call this a tie in this category. Whether I was taking calls with the built-in receivers or on speakerphone calls, both of these devices performed extremely well. And the only issue that I have with either of these devices is the fact that they're lacking in a little bit of volume in either the receiver or the speaker. Okay, to date, I have not been able to find a device that can beat my Samsung device when it comes to overall call quality and speaker call quality and volume for taking phone calls. But they perform pretty well, so we're going to call it a tie in this category yet again. Up next now, let's briefly go over how I feel about the cameras on these two devices. One thing that I want to keep in mind that this is just my opinion and my experiences. If you want a more in-depth look at the cameras, including dedicated camera samples, video samples, camera walkthroughs, so on and so forth, feel free to check out the camera walkthroughs that I've done on each of these devices, which I'll go ahead and link up down below in the video description for your convenience. That being said, I have to say both of these devices, when it comes to taking photos, do some really good work. I was able to take some really good photos with either of these devices, and that's with both of these devices being set to auto mode. And the same thing can be said of video, but there are some things that I want to point out for the video. Alright, and there are some things I need to point out for the photo as well, so let me back up, getting a little ahead of myself. In regards to the photo performance, it is good on both, second to none almost on both, okay? But the V30 here can only take portrait style photos with the front facing camera. You can't take portrait style photos or blur background photos with the rear facing cameras on the V30. You can do that on the front and or the rear facing cameras on the Google Pixel, so I gotta point that out. And for video, I feel like the exposure performance on the Pixel is kind of wonky, so you really gotta dial in your exposure on the Pixel, whereas the exposure for the V30 is rock solid. Also, you get pro mode for video and photo with the V30, where you don't get that type of experience on the Google Pixel. Okay, and the pro mode for photo and video on the V30 is second to none. Nobody beating the V30 or LG products in general when we talk about pro mode features. So you can already make that a win in that column there and give this one an L for them pro mode features. But overall, the video on these are top notch. Again, exposure issues, and the LG V30 does have a little bit of slow focus, but other than that, the overall video is top notch. Now, audio performance between these is top notch as well. Now, feel free, again, to check out my coverage on either of these devices. I've done a lot of extensive coverage with both of these devices, so you should be able to get some really good audio samples. I have that linked up down below in the video description as well. So that pretty much does it for the cameras, and let's keep it moving. Up next now, this is where I would talk about the gaming performance, and both of these devices pretty much perform the same. Okay, didn't have any issues when it comes to overall gaming. The experience was very fluid and snappy throughout. Now, both of these devices did get warm with extended gameplay of up to an hour or better, and it was right around the fingerprint sensor area on both. That being said, when I was using these side by side, I did notice that the LG V30 did get a little bit warmer than the Pixel XL with extended gameplay, so I do have to point that out. But if y'all want to see how the devices performed in real time, I will link up these separate dedicated gaming performance videos down below in the video description. Alright, so y'all feel free to check that out at your own leisure. Now let's keep it moving. Up next now, this will be where I talk about the benchmarks. And honestly, these two devices performed exactly where I was expecting them to. Again, we got flagship chipsets in both of these. Snapdragon 821, Snapdragon 835, Adreno 530, Adreno 540. So flagship chipsets, and they performed accordingly. Now here's the funny thing that caught me by surprise, and I'll throw up the screenshot in post so y'all can see what I'm talking about. In regards to the memory management and the multitasking benchmarks, the Google Pixel XL, in my opinion, clearly outperformed the LG V30. And I don't know if it has to do with optimization or what have you, because the RAM loadout on these are the same. Keep in mind, this is a lighter skin. This is stock Android versus a really heavily customized skin with the LG UX. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but this is the older processor, so I wasn't expecting that in the multitasking benchmark, but it still does its thing. It still holds up extremely well, so I can't complain. But I do want to point that out. Now, if y'all want to see more synthetic benchmark scores, feel free to check out the full reviews that I've done on both of these devices, which will be linked up down below in the video description. Alright, now let's keep it moving. Up next, the next thing I want to talk about with you guys and gals is the overall battery life between these two devices and the overall charge times. Alright, one thing I want to reiterate before we get into these results, and I'll throw the screenshots up in post for y'all to check out, is that these results that y'all are getting ready to see and I'm getting ready to talk about do reflect my usage style, which is extremely heavy usage. And everybody's results may vary. These are just my particular results with my usage style. That being said, another thing that I want y'all to keep in mind is that one of the major things that really draws on the battery is the displays, the display technology, and the battery size. So once again, let me reiterate, display size 5.5 inches for the Google Pixel XL, 6 inches for the V30, okay? OLED display, IPS LCD display, 2K resolution, 2K resolution. All right, and again, let me reiterate the battery sizes. So 3450 milliamp hour for the Google Pixel XL and 3300 for the LG V30. That being said, talking about the overall battery life, with my style of usage, I did find that I needed to charge each device one additional time to get through the average day, and that was with heavy usage. With light to moderate usage, I was able to get through the day. Now, to put that into perspective with some actual SOT numbers for you guys and gals, I'm pulling down anywhere from about 6.5 hours of screen on time on both, apologize for the bumpy cam, to 7.5 hours of screen on time on both. Now, with extended testing, I was able to break both of these devices into the 8-hour screen on time mark, but I did have to run them down to single-digit percentages left. Okay? And I really don't like to do that because it decreases the overall longevity of my devices, and I want to make these things last as long as possible, because replacing the battery on these devices is not the easiest thing in the world. Alright, that being said, let me just show y'all the battery health stats real quick before we talk about the charge times, and then we'll move on to the last part of this video. So as you can see, I've had the Google Pixel XL for about 3 months. As I activate the Google Now without trying to, sorry about that. All of my devices have voice command turned on, so I gotta be careful how I say things. But as you can see, I've had the Google Pixel XL for 3 months, and I've had the LG V30 for about a month, give or take like a couple days. And you can see this one is maintaining itself extremely well. The battery health is still well over 100%, whereas this one is down to 91% on the battery health. Now, both of these devices were used when I got them, so let me point that out. After going through the regular priming for the battery, so the discharge recharge cycles to prime the battery, this bad boy had 92% battery health. After doing the same thing over here, it was at 101 battery health percentage. Okay, and you can see just how many charge cycles I put both of these through. So let me hold that up. Check that out. All right, and let me hold this up here. Check that out. So there you go. All right, so that being said, in regards to the overall battery life, I'm going to have to call these a tie. All right, now when we talk about charging times, again, I throw up the shots in post so y'all can check it out. This is where I noticed a slightly big difference. Now, the LG V30 again supports Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0. All Alright, and the Google Pixel supports 18-watt fast charging or rapid charging. And on average, I found that with the V30, it takes anywhere from an hour and a half to an hour and 50 minutes to get up to a full charge. Now that's testing from 10% to 100, 15% to 100, 20% to 100, so on and so forth. Alright? And it takes anywhere from an hour and a half to an hour and 50 minutes, depending on when I put it on the charger and at what percentage I put it on the charger at. That being said, when I don't charge to full with the V30, then we're looking at something about 30 minutes to 50 minutes to get up to my desired charging percentage. Again, check out the stats. I'll have them up on the screen. That being said, when we talk about the charging times for the Google Pixel XL, this one takes anywhere from about an hour and 50 minutes to 2 hours to go through the same charging scenarios. So 10% to 100, 15% to 100, 20% to 100, so on and so forth. Okay? Whereas with I'm not charging it fully, it takes anywhere from about 45 minutes to 55 minutes to get up to my desired percentage. So there is about a 10-minute charging difference between these, but speed is everything when you talk about charging, so we got to give the W to the LG V30. So once again, to reiterate before we move on, battery life, we're calling that a tie in my opinion. Charging times, we're giving the W to the LG V30. And one other advantage that the LG V30 has is it does support wireless charging and fast wireless charging up to 10 watts. So that's really, really good. Whereas the Google Pixel XL only has the wired fast charging. So that's another difference that I wanted to reiterate there. Now let's move on to the last part of this video. And y'all made it. Y'all did a great job. We made it to the end. And this is where I want to talk about the pricing at which you can find both these devices available today. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I do want to run through how I was able to pick up these devices, just so y'all know, because we keeping it 100 around here. Now, I was able to get the LG V30 for trade. I traded my Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite, so I got the LG V30 completely for free. And this is the T-Mobile locked variant, okay? Whereas I bought the Google Pixel XL in mint condition from a very good friend of mine, your boy Altered Tech. He also creates content as well. I'll go ahead and link his channel up down below in the video description. Y'all feel free to check him out. He does some of the best camera performance videos that I've seen on YouTube, and your boy is extremely detailed, and he's real most of all. I like the realness that your boy is putting down. And I picked it up from your boy for about $190. Keep in mind, this bad boy is in mint condition. As y'all can see, mint conditions, no dings, no dents, no scratches. It's kind of dirty because it lives its life in the case, and I only clean it every so often, but good stuff here. Y'all can see, as I showed, the battery health is still at 100%. So I really appreciate that, bro, that deal that you was able to hook me up with. Big thanks to you there again. And again, I'll leave your boy Ultra Tech's channel info down below in the video description, and I may throw up a card on the screen for y'all to run over and check his stuff out. Really great work. Anyways, that being said, after doing extensive research, I was able to find both of these devices in the max storage variants for the exact same prices. So, used like new or refurbished, okay? You can find these bad boys ranging in price from $190 all the way up to $300, okay? If you're picking these bad boys up brand new, which you can't do for this one, but you can still do for that one, then it's gonna run you about $400 to $500, okay? And the sweet spot for me is the used like new or the refurbished ones that I was able to find. I was able to find both these bad boys, 4 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of onboard storage for $250. And I checked everywhere. I checked Amazon, I checked eBay, I checked Craigslist, I checked Best Buy, I checked Swapper, I checked Let's Go, I checked Mercari, I checked everywhere. And that was the best price that I was able to find, okay? Alright, so based on the pricing, which one would I recommend that you go with? And again, this is another tough recommendation because these two devices, in my opinion, are made for two drastically different people, okay? You pick up a stock Google device when your main concern is speed, fluidity, and security patches. That's one of the main reasons why I would recommend you pick up a stock Google Pixel device. That, and people are really in love with the still footage that these devices are able to capture. Now, I'm more of a video man, so that's either here or there when it comes to my opinion, okay? But you would pick up a Google Pixel if you want, oh, my bad, everything going off, my bad, stop. You would pick up the Google Pixel if you're looking to get some really good software with some really good security patches and you want a really good camera for still footage, alright? Whereas you would pick up the LG V30, in my opinion, if you want an all-around solid device with a bunch of built-in features, micro SD card expansion, a really big display, all that good stuff there. And again, some really good cameras and even better in-depth cameras with the ability to take advantage of pro mode and all the things of that nature. Okay? So, if you want to get deep down and dirty and you want to take really good photos, really good videos, and you really want to customize your photos and video taking experience, or customize your whole device in general and have those things ready to go out the box and not need to download separate launchers or separate software to theme it the way you want to, then I can recommend the LG V30. But if you want the stock experience with the most streamlined and fluid experience that I was ever able to experience, and you want the fastest up-to-date security patches, because at the end of the day, security patches are king, especially on smart devices, then you get those series. Alright? That being said, this, much like a large majority of everything that I talked about in the video, comes down to personal preference. So you pick up what you think is going to work best for you. Alright, that being said, that brings an end to this versus/comparison video. If you guys and gals enjoyed the video, please help your boy out and give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you found the video helpful in any way, shape, form, or fashion, help your boy out and give the video a thumbs up as well. If this video piqued your interest and you would like to know where you can pick up one of these two devices or both of these devices at some really great prices, as well as the recommended tempered glass, screen protectors, micro SD cards, cases, and what have you, all that good stuff will be linked up down below in the video description. So down below in the video description should be like a one-stop shop for you guys and gals, and you should be good to go. Character restrictions do apply. So if I can't fit everything, I'll figure out a way to get y'all the links to the appropriate stuff. But all that stuff will be dedicated, linked up down below in the video description. Alright, that being said, this whole video was recorded using the rear-facing 12 megapixel camera on the Samsung Galaxy S8 in 720p resolution at 30 frames per second. And all of the audio for this video was recorded using the Comica V30 Lite shotgun style microphone. So please let me know what y'all think of the overall video quality and the overall audio quality down below in the comments. Alright, I hope everyone has a great day, and I will catch you guys and gals in the next video. Peace. I think it's time to move on to that Moto G7 coverage. Here we go. Gotta swap the SIMs.